Hey, how you doing? It's Paul Bolger again. It's the final update. I just want to give you a little insight into what I do and how I draw the books. I know some of you have seen the videos before, but here's what I work on. It's called a Cintiq. It's literally a digital drawing board. So, excuse me while I put on my glasses. So what I do is I use a program called Photoshop, and I simply page like a canvas. It's a digital canvas. And then I just start to draw. So you can literally draw on the screen. So it means that when I'm making the comic, you know, you work out where the boxes are going to be. Just a rough idea, for example. Really rough, figuring out where the character is going to stand, the angle they're at, if there's light and shade. Next stage then is I start to draw out the pages based on my roughs. So I go through a process that I call tidy up or clean up, I guess. So you start to draw in the details. Cool. So that's it. I'm going to talk you through some of the artwork and some of how I make the books come alive. Just want to apologize for the sound quality. My computer is making a fair bit of noise there in the background. Okay, what I'm doing here is I'm preparing and finishing up the page. There's been a lot of prep done. I figured out where all the different pictures will go, the storytelling, the sequence of events. There's been a lot of work put into that. The dialogue has been worked out, what they're going to say, the kind of environment they're going to be in. And what I'm doing here is I'm just drawing over the rough drawing, which is the grey one underneath. So I'm just fleshing out the anatomy of the character. I'm going to move the arm a little bit, see there? And I'm going to do the same with the other one because it's a bit weird in the perspective. And the great thing about drawing digitally is, like years ago you would have photocopied all this and just moved it around on a light box. Now it's much more quicker and efficient because when you draw digitally, if you look to the right hand side of the screen, you see the little blue squares moving up and down. They're the different layers. You have to imagine that's a bit like clear plastic I'm looking through, you know, acetate that I can see through. Like comic artists, illustrators, apologies, you guys know all this stuff if you work digitally, but for the benefit of others who have never seen it before, it's an interesting little process to watch, I think. Here's another page. It's going to be in book 3. This is the rough page here. So what I'm doing is I'm just setting it up. I did this very, very quickly in Photoshop. Now I'm creating my spaces for the panels, the boxes. The storytelling has been worked out. I've come up with this idea of using a positive negative, if you want to call that, like a silhouette in white against black, because I just want to give the feeling that they're in the darkness of the forest. I don't want to draw all the trees. I want to give a feeling that we might be looking through some bushes. So I work out the anatomy using old tricks that I've learned in animation. I'm trying to go for dynamic poses, a bit of movement in the drawing. The hair is blowing, you know, it's like he's mid-swing. Look how rough I'm drawing it. I'm just blocking out shapes. The white splashes are going to be the blood eventually. Big picture, he's in the water. I've got a rough idea of where I think he is. They're all heads on trees around him. I flopped it over there, you see, because I need to have the glove that he wears with the red hand on his right hand, and I had it the other way around. So here I'm just indicating where I think the light and shadow might be, how that makeup or whatever he wears is. It's like he's just turned around, so that big bit of hair at the back is kind of swung. So all the time, every time I draw, every time I make a mark, there's a story, there's a reason for it. You know, I don't just draw pretty pictures. Well, I don't know if they're pretty, but I just don't draw pictures for the sake of them, especially in the context of something like this. I kind of treat it like a movie, you know. You're constantly trying to get the right performance, the right attitude, the right level of dynamics. So always looking for energy. This is an early draft of this page. It isn't the final page yet. I'm still playing with that a little bit. I don't want to show too much detail because I don't want to give away every bit of how he looks. I kind of want him to look a bit like a Celtic superhero or something, like he's wearing a costume. So I want to, like, I don't want to say he's like Batman, but he's a kind of a ninja come predator come, I don't know. He's just got something about him that's a little different than what you'd expect of Celtic people. There's a bit of a Native American thing probably going on. I just wanted to make him a bit scary for all those guys that are invading his country. So what I'm doing there is I'm thinking about all this stuff as I draw it. You know, it looks like I'm just sketching, but I'm not. Like, I've got to think about where he's standing. You know, later on he's going to fight in the ford. In the legend, he fights his friend in a shallow river. So this is a precursor, you know. He's not going to move all over Ireland in the story. So the idea is that I'm trying to suggest locations that we might revisit. Here I'm just refining this idea of using the white. Do I put details in there? I'm trying to give the action. Look, I'm using digital shapes now like you would old technical drawing instruments, trying to get real circles as opposed to freehand circles in the shape of the curved stick there. Implication of shadows, tattoos. It's kind of all about capturing a feeling, you know. I'm not going to spend a lot of time doing super realistic drawings. I just want to get the thing across as quick as I can because I want people to read this book quick, and then they can go back if they like. They can admire. If you like the artwork, you can take a few minutes to look at each panel and treat them as little individual paintings if you want, or whatever. But they have to work together as a story. Like, for example, there now, you know, I just splodged the red on top, but you can make the layers kind of transparent so they just sit on the black. So there you have it. That's the drawing that goes into the books. I do that for every page. The idea is to do one a day. I have it roughed out. I guess if I was doing from scratch it might take 2 days a page. If I'm lucky and really push it, I can do 2 pages a day. Sometimes I've been known to do 3 pages a day depending on what happens that week. So the idea now here is to, in the last push to reach the Kickstarter, I just wanted to give you guys a kind of a feel for the amount of effort that goes into this thing. I'm beyond all the research and the writing and the back and forth that myself and Barry would have done, myself and Hugh would have done on trying to raise money to get the project done, the film, the amount of effort I would do to go to the museums, or I would talk to other comic artists and ask how they do things using equipment as opposed to traditional ink. The decisions made. I mean, this has been a long journey, and this last book is going to close off at least the graphic novel trilogy. The movie is a whole other story. I'm not sure we'll do a Kickstarter for that because I'm not sure we can raise the amount of money we need to make the film. But I just wanted to give you an insight into the level of attention that goes into this. The pages you just saw me drawing were still quite rough. Anybody who's got the previous books will see the finish that I went for. Kind of deceivingly simple, I suppose. It looks quite complex, but if you really analyze each panel, I have a lot of shorthand and a lot of visual language that I created in the books that I'm trying to continue on with, because like I said there when I was drawing, the idea is it's a fast read, but you can always go back and flick through the pages. So again, thanks for getting us this far. We have a little bit more to go. We have a little bit more money to raise, so if any of you want to up your pledge, please do. Be a character in the book. I'll happily draw you. Take a look at the previous books and you'll see where people were characters in the book, as we call them. If you have any friends that you think might be interested, please spread the word. The link will be underneath the video. Thank you, and
Ima bring lodi agus cuine mar de bheol agus mé amalaí fé chabar a mórtaí faneach ma hí an bór ó